What's up, people? I can turn that off now. What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of High Take. Okay, now I'm not muted. For some reason, every time I switch over a scene, I have to switch over my audio. I gotta fix that. So, if you're here, thank you. If you saw I switched over to High Take and switched back, it shuts that off. But, alright. So, if you didn't know, this is what we're here for. There is a Mortal Kombat 2 trailer out. We're here to talk about that right now. So, here we go. Let's see. I didn't want to leave y'all stranded here. So I already got it up. So they made a fake trailer for Johnny Cage. Hold on, let me. They made a fake trailer for Johnny Cage. It's like Jean-Claude Van Damme meets Kung Fury. And they, yeah, Uncaged Fury. It's like Jean-Claude Van Damme met Kung Fury. That's the closest we're going to get to a Kung Fury 2. Now the actual trailer. So we have an older Johnny Cage already, we can tell. So Carl Urban is a good pick for this. I like that. I'm assuming Johnny Cage kills the bull from the first one. I'm assuming that's what happens. Katana. Kano. You also got the chick from Sabrina, the bald head chick. She looks like she's playing Jade. Baraka. Yeah, Baraka. He look legit. Okay. So it looks like Katana and Jade are together. You got. It looks like a soft reboot. It don't look like it's a real sequel. Looks like they learned from the mistakes. All right, we getting a Johnny Cage. We getting a real Johnny Cage. With Scorpion still here, yeah, we getting a real Johnny Cage. This looks legit. Yes. Okay, and he said it. He said the thing. He did the thing. I don't like that soundtrack though. So Johnny Cage doesn't have. Well, he probably doesn't know. Like they don't know. So, all right. So, that was the Mortal Kombat trailer. Sorry, I didn't mean to close out of that. What do people think of it? What y'all think of it? I think it looks. I think it looks okay, and it looks like it's going to theaters. So it doesn't look like a bad movie. It looks like also they look like they're rebooting the whole thing. It's almost like they learned from their mistakes. It looks like they also got rid of the guy from the first one, Cole, whatever his name is. Nobody remembers him. He is gone. Let's see let's see what Culture Gaming has to say about it. Let's check that out. I want to give my own review of this, but this is something that's what I was about to say. It could go either way. It could go either way. If it's on, like I said, if it's going to the theaters, I think it'll be okay. Carl Urban being added is a good inclusion, but it's a sequel, and if it's a sequel, it's almost like you made us forget about the first one. It's making us try to forget what happened with the first one. That's what it looks like. If you have an AMC Movie Pass, it looks like something to go watch. I don't know what else is coming out in October, so I can't completely hate it because if there's nothing to watch, go watch it. If there's something to watch, don't waste your money. Wait for it to come out on HBO Max like it was supposed to. Wait for it to be a movie that's supposed to be in the movie theaters. Sorry if I'm a little small on the screen. I'm going to play this in the background. And we'll continue to talk about this. This is What Culture. Just so you don't think I've made my own video. I did not. It's too new. I didn't have time to edit a Mortal Kombat video. So, forgive me. But, yeah, it looks trash. But it also looks good. It looks like the perfect amount of just bull. Like it's a video game movie, so I'm assuming that it's not gonna be as bad as it could be. I don't know how to even address that. I don't know what to say about this movie. If it's anything like Mortal Kombat 1, the video game, look for it to be bad. If they go and try to redo the movie like they did the first movie, or no, the actual first movie with, the original 90s movie, they do something along those lines where we focus on Liu Kang and Sonya and Johnny Cage and kind of X everybody else out, maybe a little bit of Katana's story, then we got something going, because that's all Mortal Kombat is. There's no real craziness to it. It's just to get to a fight. Every point in Mortal Kombat should be to get to a fight. If it's not that, and if you waste too much time on a story, you've destroyed the whole concept of Mortal Kombat. It's almost like Street Fighter. Street Fighter can have a little bit more story. They're redoing Street Fighter as well, but Street Fighter should be a Street Fighter. As much as people talk crap about that Tekken movie at least had fights in it. It had a good amount of fights in it, because the whole point of the movie was to get from point A to point B. So, if Mortal Kombat can pull that off, good on them. You've already kind of ruined it because you killed everybody and brought everybody back in the last one. I don't think there's much to look for here. That's all I'm gonna say. You can't go worse. You probably could do better. It's a meh. I appreciate that you might have listened to the fans. I appreciate that you attempted a better version, but you already did a first one. This is a sequel, and now we're finally getting to the Mortal Kombat stage. We're finally getting to the point where they're fighting. That's what I'm like. So what was the whole point of the first one? Do we just forget that the first one exists? Are you going to mark it off? Are you going to just create the first one so you could kill off Cole, so you can bring in Johnny Cage? Or you could have just brought in Johnny Cage. I don't know what we're really going to watch. That's all I'm saying. I get it. They're fixing it. But if you fix it and give us what we should have gotten the first one, you better be thankful that movie came to streaming when it did and it didn't go out in the movie theater. Because if I went to the movie theaters to pay for the first one and you guys did this, I would boycott this. I'd be like, thank God it went to streaming. That's all I'm going to say. Because if you put this movie out and it's what the first one should have already been, and you backtrack the first one, you brought everybody back like you tried to say you were going to do in the first one, and then make basically the first one, yeah, I'm boycotting this movie. If you do that, I am boycotting this movie. I don't care who's in it. That was a waste of our time. That's all I'm saying on that. But tell me how you feel in the comments. Like, oh, I got a little bit heated because I love Mortal Kombat and they're ruining it for us. They're just, they just want our money. I don't like it. Okay, so these two guys are still talking in the background. I threw them on because I thought they were going to show clips of Mortal Kombat. They're just going over the history. I guess the history of what they want to see too. But give me a second. I'm sorry. I had a clips video. It's crazy because I just put out the Superman video. And the Superman video is up. The clips video I already got like hit. And it wasn't just their music. I realized some of the clips, like I got a Breakfast Club clip in there. And I know I could probably take from Breakfast Club, but it's the first videos on that channel, and I'm not trying to get demonetized that early. So I do have a clips video I was working on, talking about the history of the clips and really how their music didn't disappear. They've stayed pretty relevant. If you know, you know. One of their songs. Well, that's one of Pusha T songs. Sorry, I'm gonna push all that out the way. You gonna get this off my screen. I'm glad y'all can't see this. Freaking blue stacks. But yeah, I did a clips video. It just went over the history. I had found a clip from Birdman where he was talking about the best production and stuff he's ever did was with Pharrell and how he messed that up. He didn't tell you how he messed that up, but we all know how he messed that up. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty interesting. And then, of course, like I said, they just came for me. I'm going to have... You might hear some sound because I'm trying to get this game working. So there's a game I've been playing. I have a... Sorry if you hear my son running back and forth upstairs. I have a Marvel Rivals account. I play a lot of Marvel Rivals. So there's a game that came out called Marvel Mystic Mayhem. And I felt like it was the perfect game. You could probably see it. It's probably up there in the background right now. I felt like it was like... Hold on one second. I felt like it was the perfect game to play like a... sorry if you hear my son. Forgive me. To be a time waster. Like just play it on the side type game. This is it. I don't know if you can see it. It's Marvel. There we go. Let me turn that down a little bit. So this is the game right here. Let me see if I can put my butt in the window. So it's interesting because I usually don't play time waster games, but I got back into them. I used to play them a lot. I used to actually play them a lot, so I can't say I don't play time waster games. But and when I call them time waster games, it's like you got to come back after a certain amount of time And then hold on one second. Let me make sure you can hear. Yeah, so I come back after a certain amount of time, and that's when they give you all the points to play, and then you come back and blah blah blah. But I started playing this game, and I was like, this joint actually alright, and it's something I'm not upset to be playing. Let's just put it that way. Yes, there are ways you can win with cash, but I did a free to play. I got pretty far. Then I dropped about $5. So I just want to throw this up because I want to check this out because they just released the Fantastic Four pack. As always, cashing in on the new movie, the new whatever. So bear with me for a moment. Something to kill time. That's why we call it. And my son's upstairs. There's no point in me trying to make a video right now. My son running around upstairs. Hold up. I'll throw this on so it's getting a little dark inside. So this is sort of a high take technically because this is a fun game I've been playing while I smoke. So they just released the Fantastic Four, like I just said, and the reason I jumped also in this today is because I check in. It's a game I check in on, and this character is supposed to be. She's supposed to be the new high-end claim. It's a gotcha, so don't be surprised of all the gotcha rules. Don't be like, oh yeah, no, it's a gotcha. That's why I check in rarely, and I do what I do, and I do the little missions, and I kind of get in and get out. But I literally had all these keys, and I just got rid of well, I didn't have all these keys. I had conversions because I convert these things into keys, whatever. I clicked there, got the 5. I pulled it on the first run. I was like, oh, okay, so you guys are trying to make sure I stay playing, or I got lucky. But yeah, see, they're trying to throw cash at you. Nope, we don't do that around here. Unless you have Google rewards. That's where all my money comes from, Google rewards. That's how we cash in around here. So yeah, you can see how much I'm in on this. Like, so I beat it though. Like, I did get pretty far. Like, I got pretty far. So I'm gonna go over this a little bit just to kill time. Wait till the kids fall asleep. Maybe go over some other stuff with the music things. But yeah, go check out the actual High Take channel. You can subscribe. I'm not even gonna push people to subscribe. See, this is where I get the keys from. I don't push people to subscribe. You can subscribe if you like. At this point in my life, I feel like, what's the point of pressure? We got enough pressure in the world. You don't need more pressure of me telling you to click on a button. So they fixed the bug. They threw me some keys. This is how I feel about it right now. That's my child running back and forth. This is why I'm not doing a video. But yeah, we already know what Mortal Kombat's hitting for. I wanted to also talk about come on. Also, it's a little laggy. Also, oh yeah, I got the Human Torch too. That was another one they threw at me. So I also wanted to talk about some of the other stuff we got going on. The world of Pokemon is kicking my ass. Come on. I don't feel like reading. Stop trying to get me to read. I want to read. So, well, okay. Might as well get into it. This is a new story, whatever. The Fantastic Four is on a ship, and they're flying. And Johnny says some stuff. To achieve escape velocity, we'll have to ... apostrophe. Yeah, tell me what's going on. And then it says, what Reed's saying, Johnny, is to sit back and buckle your seatbelt. Okay, so we wasted our time with two extra parts. Sorry, I'm like, this is some circuit challenge game that they created. They created a bunch of stuff I've already beat. It's little stuff that, again, it's not hard. But the reason I've also come here, and this is why I did check in for today, I can play it on the system. I have to upgrade these characters. And I'll go over the story with you guys. Might as well kill some time. Kids ain't going to sleep no time. We got something to smoke. What are you doing? No? No, I guess I did have it. Oh, there we go. Bam. Hawk. HP increased by 15%. Alright, so these are some beasts. When you power these people up, there's some beasts. So let's start from the beginning. Let's take it back. Again, something to watch, something to enjoy while I wait to make a full video. So this whole thing started here. I wish they had a hard mode, because I'm going to just be wrecking people. And I'm stuck here. And the only reason I'm stuck here is because I level people up. I gotta kill the Dream Queen, and I gotta kill her in a certain amount of time. So, how you fighting this thing is interesting. And that's why I was like, I gotta kind of... Alright, so... That's how we gonna start this. Who's got what? So you power up your attacks and you hit them at an angle. Like, it's a weird concept. They look a little bit slow because they're coming to my streaming. I'm streaming. It's gonna look slow. And it's funny because I only got it on one. Yeah, I got a lot going on my computer. That's crazy. So it works normally when I'm not playing it like this, or not streaming, which is how I can tell there's a lot going on. So Captain America powers up your whole team if you stuff like that. It's one of those types, and usually I click on it. I just do it in the auto mode because if I'm in auto, it moves a little bit faster. If you, yeah, see, it's moving a little bit faster. I don't think I'm gonna kill her though in auto mode, but we'll see. So, yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game when you actually got it down. But I guess I can only play in auto mode right now. That wasn't smart. She gonna run away. Yeah. So when this fight's over, I'll just show you the rest. But about to go through YouTube and show you something. Hopefully I don't get attacked first. See if I can make a video on it. But that's the only issue I had. I got the kids upstairs. They're running around. I don't want their sounds in the video. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to beat her. No, I'm not going to beat her. Oh, well. That's the game. And it's running slow because I'm streaming. Which is crazy because I can play Snap. I don't know if Snap... I think Snap might move slow too. Snap I'm not going to let move slow. I can't let that game do that to me. That's the last game. I can't do that with that one. This I don't care. Snap, no. It's serious. Yeah, I know I was going to lose. It's serious in Snap. You don't know about Snap out there, people. Okay, so we know that moves slow. Alright, let's see if I can do the video on the next one. Hopefully I can. Okay, is it here? So I have a question. If there's anybody still out there listening, now I'm just gonna do it. Does anybody know what's going on with Marvel Doomsday? And the reason I'm asking this is because the backlash for Robert Downey Jr. playing Victor Von Doom is unwarranted. It is unwarranted. I'm going to tell you a reason why. Hold on. Yeah. It's how do I put this? It's not comic book accurate, but there's a theory that has been in the comic book, been in the movie. It fits. The reason it fits is because we don't know if Robert Downey Jr.'s character as Tony Stark in the movies is the actual son of Howard Stark. He might have been an adopted child. I want to go into a couple of those theories, but I think that's the reason it's unwarranted. And I want to show this video. And I'm going to cut this video up later. If y'all still watching, just bear with this video. But there's some things I think, and I even thought about it because Robert Downey Jr. is playing Victor Von Doom. Victor Von Doom in the alternate universe, I think it was a What If universe, was Tony Stark. Tony Stark was Victor Von Doom. So I think it fits. All right, hold on. Okay, I just want to make sure the sound was working. Let's see if we can turn this up a little bit. Okay.
Become heroic and make the ultimate sacrifice to defeat Thanos in Endgame. That guy was never actually Tony Stark. He was a Victor Von Doom variant, and he was adopted by the Starks, and all of this happened on purpose because it was the plan of He Who Remains to eliminate the possibility of Doctor Doom ever existing. And I know this sounds insane. It frankly is insane, and it will probably go down as one of the most ridiculous and crazy retcons in the history of pop culture. But there's evidence here. And in fact, all the things that the Russo brothers have been saying in recent interviews and all the stuff that the insiders have said since I last made a video about this, all of it actually works to confirm this theory. I think it's real. I think it's going to blow people's minds. Let me explain this whole Tony Stark retcon theory. Before we even get into any of the evidence, I'd like to address this idea of why Marvel Studios would even want to do this. Well, you see, Marvel Studios has a tendency to like meta stuff. Meta can mean different things, but essentially what I'm talking about is the studio paying attention to fan conversations and paying attention to its own history and the history of other Marvel movies and playing off of the actual history or the actual fan things in their cinematic universe. A great example of this is the Ralph Boner character. Now, when this first happened in WandaVision, we all lost
I hope they don't
minds.
think too hard into that because that's what destroyed Game of Thrones.
Who had played Quicksilver in the Fox X-Men movies, and he was now seemingly playing Quicksilver in the WandaVision show in the MCU. This is meta, and we all thought there had to be something to it, that Feige was likely teasing out some multiversal crazy implications, and it ended up being a dick joke, and that sucked, and I hate that. Another great example is Channing Tatum in Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, the only reason that character is even in that movie is because Channing Tatum was about to be Gambit. He wanted to do a Gambit movie. He went to Comic-Con because he was like excited to be Gambit, but it never happened. It all fell apart. Big time nerds that follow this stuff, we remember that. And so we appreciate Gambit as Channing Tatum in that movie. And they even make some referential jokes about it because it's Deadpool and it's very meta because it's Deadpool, but that's also just something Marvel likes to do. Another example is Tom Cruise Iron Man. You'll remember these rumors were popping off when Multiverse of Madness was about to come out. And I would have loved to see Tom Cruise's Iron Man. Like, that's such a fucking cool idea. But one of the reasons Marvel was even interested in doing it is because Tom Cruise was going to be Iron Man. There was
You see the issues, what I mean? If there's too much fan service, it's going to destroy a movie. The Doctor Doom theory comes from a comic book. Hopefully, they don't dig too deep into that, but I feel like it's already set up in the universe. When it comes to these type of theories, though, they got to be careful because that Ralph Boner thing, that was not funny. That pissed me off a little bit. I was like, you made me mad about that. I don't like that. So
The time where Marvel Studios wanted Tom Cruise to be Iron Man before Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man. And we've heard similar rumors attached to Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix was originally going to be Doctor Strange, and we've heard rumors in the past that Marvel Studios wanted to bring him back as Doctor Strange as another one of those meta kind of ideas. So Marvel Studios likes to do meta stuff. You got it. Well, here's where that leads to. Did you know that Robert Downey Jr. actually first went out for the role of Victor Von Doom?
So, do we have to do something because of that? So, let's not use that as a theory. Let's get back to the actual comic book theories and stop trying to pull out these Hollywood ideas. So what? Chris Evans was the Human Torch.
Way before Robert Downey Jr. ever auditioned for the role of Tony Stark, he went out in 2005 for the role of Victor Von Doom in the 2005 Fantastic Four movie. Now, that ultimately went to Julian McMahon, and he did a great job as Dr. Doom. That movie's fun. I don't love what they do with Doom in those movies, but the movie's fine. But the point is, RDJ as Dr. Doom was absolutely going to be a thing in the past. And in fact, last year, Marvel Studios published a video on their YouTube channel with Jon Favreau and Kevin Feige. This was celebrating the 15-year anniversary of the release of the Iron Man movie. And in that video, Jon Favreau talks about how Robert Downey Jr. already knew everybody at Marvel Studios because he had gone out for the role of Dr. Doom years earlier.
Tell me your memories of where that idea.
Okay. Now, the reason I'm also bringing this in, Kevin Feige. Okay. So, in Marvel, Kevin Feige was the guy who basically was the assistant to Avi Arad, which was the guy who brought you Blade, X-Men, the original Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's version. He was the assistant. So, within him knowing a lot of people, I think that is nothing. He knows everybody in Hollywood. Like, he knew everybody in Hollywood at the time, or in every A-lister, or becoming A-lister. So because Robert Downey Jr. went out for a role for Victor Von Doom and lost it, but he's got the role for Iron Man, we are now looking at favoritism to push an idea on people that already existed, and now this is why people get upset, because you're taking away from the actual comic book idea and throwing the Hollywood label over top of it. When in actuality, if you just stick with the actual story, it'll work. That's like the story of Shuri and Black Panther. In Black Panther, he does die and Shuri does take up the mantle. It happens differently, but it works very well. So instead of us focusing so much on Chadwick Boseman's death like in that movie, let's just pass the mantle on and continue it like it's supposed to go. We'll see what happens in Black Panther 3, but at the moment, the focus is still on the death of Chadwick Boseman. And I love that Chadwick Boseman was Black Panther, but he doesn't need to do anything. Like, if he's gone, he's gone. You don't need to replace Black Panther. I don't want people to replace Black Panther. Leave it alone. It's in the comic. Leave it dead. That's the point of that. So if Robert Downey Jr.'s character of Iron Man is dead, that's fine, but Victor Von Doom is an alternate universe of another character. So when we're doing this, why are we going into the Hollywood elite part of it? That's the problem, and that's where there's a thin line being placed on this character and this story.
It came from, because there were some other people. There were, and I've talked about it.
I remember that Robert had come in for a general on it. And I remember you had all met with him already for like Dr. Doom or something.
Here I come.
I think in a sense here, Kevin does see this long history. He sees the fact that Robert Downey Jr. played this iconic character, and there's always this fun meta idea that he likes to play with. And so I think that's part of the idea here. But we are going to come back to this meta concept. So put a pin in this. We will come back to it because there's actually more to it. But recently, and well past the last time I made a video about this, the Russo brothers have come out to talk about the crux of the idea that brought them back to do these movies. And they keep talking about this idea that Steve McFeely had that really activated the whole team. And essentially the Russos had a ton of different ideas for cool stuff that they wanted to do in Secret Wars, but they couldn't find a way in via story. And it's always really important for them to have like a character reason or an actual story reason to get into these cool situations. And so within the past couple of months, they have talked over and over again about this crazy activating idea that Steve McFeely had, and that became the way into the story. This was when they knew they had a great idea and they would actually come back and be able to tell this story very effectively. In a recent interview, the Russos had admitted that instead of them trying to get Downey to come back to the MCU, Downey had first agreed, and he was already set to come back as Doctor Doom. And according to the Russos, this happened about a year before they decided to come back. And the reason it took them a whole year was because they didn't have a story idea of how to make all of this stuff make sense. So what is this story idea? Like, what is this activating thing? Well, considering that this is all being told in the context of Downey coming back as Doctor Doom, it kind of seems like they needed to come up with an idea to make that make sense. And the real reason I'm bringing this up is because some people view Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doom as just this throwaway thing, and there was no explanation whatsoever. But if that's true, then how could Steve McFeely have had a crazy activating idea that made it all make sense and made them all really want to tell this story? Those things are not compatible. Like, you cannot have an activating idea that's just like, oh yeah, you know how Chris Evans in the Fantastic Four movie is Johnny Storm, but in the MCU he's Captain America? And you know that joke from Deadpool? Let's just do that with Robert Downey Jr. Like, that's not that kind of an idea. That's not going to get you out of bed in the morning. So what could be such an activating idea? What could make that make sense? Well, another thing that I want to bring up right now is this idea of challenging the audience. The Russos have also come out to say that the ideas they have in these movies, the stories they're about to tell, will challenge the audience. And they've also made mention of how they're very excited.
So, and I'm pausing this. The Russos came out and said they're going to create a story that's going to challenge the audience. Do they think the audience is stupid? Do you think the audience wants to be dragged around? Do they think the audience is... What do they mean by challenge the audience? When people make statements like that, I question if they think their audience is stupid. I question if they think their audience thinks they know more than they're supposed to know. I don't know what that means.
Excited to tell this story, and they think it's on the level of stuff they did in Infinity War and Endgame, and it's going to, again, challenge the audience. Now, it is worth taking a second here to explain that there are established rumors that we will see evil versions of the Avengers in Avengers Doomsday. This has come out from a lot of different people. Paul from Heavy Spoilers had a scoop that you're going to see an evil version of Black Widow played by Scarlett Johansson in Doomsday, although Paul technically said Secret Wars, but it was for Doomsday. Alex Perez has talked about an evil version of Captain America that's going to be standing beside Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday. We've heard there's going to be an evil version of Hulk, and a lot of rumors just point to there being evil versions of all of the different Avengers. And I think that's crazy about that. And meta, once again,
We're getting evil versions of all the Avengers. How? I want to say generic. But if they do it correctly, okay, whatever. I see it. It has to go that way. But if you're doing it, that's what I'm saying. Why are we focused so much on the actors?
is that the heroes of the 616 will have a very difficult time with that. That will be challenging for the characters. Like, Paul focuses on this in his video talking about that leak, and I thought it was really cool the way he explained it, because yeah, for people like Yelena, it would be devastating to see Natasha to think, oh my gosh, here's my sister back. Here's this person that I miss so badly. Here's all these things I want to say to her. And a lot of my trauma is associated with her just suddenly being gone. And here she is. This is great. Oh, wait, no, she's evil. That totally sucks. Now I'm even more sad. Like, that's really challenging. And that's something they're going to do in the film. And so maybe it's as simple as just evil versions of the Avengers. And that's what they want to do with Doctor Doom. But again, it doesn't quite make sense as that being this incredibly activating idea. And it doesn't explain why the Russos continue to say that Robert Downey Jr. is the only person that could play Doctor Doom in the story that they want to tell. They have said this several different times in several different ways, but it's basically the same message. Doctor Doom, for their story, needed to be played by Robert Downey Jr. They said this at Comic-Con when they first brought him out, and they just said it in an article in the Times, like literally just a couple of days ago. Well, this is where the theory starts to really cook and get crazy. So check this out. Recently, Alex Perez of the Cosmic Circus discussed that Doctor Doom will feel justified in his mission because he will be seeking vengeance against He Who Remains for quote-unquote silencing his universe. Because remember,
Okay, this is also a question that we're going to ask about this movie. Are they allowed to bring back Jonathan Majors? Is Jonathan Majors coming back? Have we talked about Jonathan Majors? Is he a key role to this story again? That's more important to me than this storyline that you created. So that's the other part. Are we hiding Jonathan Majors? Are they trying to keep it a secret? Like, come on, man. He might need the publicity.
we know He Who Remains artificially created the 616 timeline. By doing that, He Who Remains silenced all of these other universes. That's coming directly from Alex Perez. That's a part of the motivation for RDJ as Doctor Doom. And Alex even speculates that it could be the case that Doctor Doom comes from a real version of the MCU, the version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe before the Multiversal War and before He Who Remains created the sacred timeline and used the TVA to make it the way he wanted. You see, most Marvel fans believe that the Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom will be a variant of Tony Stark. But in this scenario, with this theory in mind, it's the other way around. The character is Victor Von Doom, and the guy we saw as Iron Man during the Infinity Saga, he was a Victor Von Doom variant. The RDJ looking character is Victor Von Doom, and he's really Doctor Doom. That's him. He was Doctor Doom. He lived out the entire life on that universe as Doctor Doom. He fought in the Secret War against He Who Remains and maybe the other gangs, and then, as He Who Remains explains, he uses the power of Goliath and ends the multiversal war. And this has something to do with using the end of time and controlling the sacred timeline. So, RDJ as Doctor Doom lived out an entire life, fought in the Secret Wars, lost. Kang then used the power of Goliath and potentially using just that location in the Citadel beyond time, recreates the timeline, silencing the universe in which Doctor Doom actually existed as Doctor Doom. And as a cruel trick, or maybe just as a preventative measure, He Who Remains made sure that Victor Von Doom would be adopted as the Starks and raised as a hero. So if that's what it is, and again, there's some evidence here from Alex Perez that that's what they're cooking, that would make what Doctor Doom is doing make sense. It would allow us to be sympathetic to him. And if you know the character of Doom from the comics, this would also be a reason for Doctor Doom to go find evil variants of the Avengers, because this would be like an antithesis to what He Who Remains did to him. He turned Victor into a hero. And so now Victor will turn the heroes into villains. Do you see how this would all make sense this way? But that's not all, because remember how I told you to put a pin in this idea of Marvel really liking to be meta? Well, we now have to talk about the MCU reboot and how this connects to this whole plan with Doctor Doom. When Marvel Studios first started out, the reason they had to start
Is this how they're going to combine everybody? Is this the way to
buy the license for back?
Is this the way to combine everybody in the series? Is this how we get into mutants? Because Phase 7 is supposed to be the mutants, or I think it's Phase 7. We're getting the mutants. They're all getting their own separate stories. And then we got all these TV shows. Marvel's trying to, like, overload us to the point where, like, it's just getting shoved down our throats. It's like McDonald's. It's like McDonald's of cinema.
Because in the 90s, Marvel Studios was going bankrupt, and they sold all the licenses to their most popular characters.
I don't eat
studios
McDonald's
like
unless
Sony,
it's breakfast.
like Fox. And when Marvel Studios was first getting started in 2006, 2007, they didn't have the money to get Spider-Man back from Sony. I mean, they still don't have the money for that. And they definitely couldn't get the Fox X-Men stuff back either. So instead, they had to buy licenses for lesser known characters and start with Iron Man and the Avengers. But Kevin Feige always imagined a universe.
So with this also happening, we know who's not going to be in this universe: Madam Web, Craven, Morbius, and I forgot the other one. See, like already, Venom. Venom's not going to be in this universe.
That included Spider-Man and the X-Men. And a couple of years ago, he let out a post-credit scene that he shot when they were making Iron Man 1. And this was something they have in the archives. And it was actually Sam Jackson doing a version of the post-credit scene where he says, you are just a part of a larger world. And he's recruiting Iron Man to the Avengers. And in this version that was held in the archives, that was never released until a couple of years ago, Nick Fury mentions Spider-Man and the mutants.
We'll never show this to anybody. Put it away. We're bringing them out. We're putting them on this disc. And I'm about to show you a deleted scene that has never been seen by anyone before right now.
As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough. I have to deal with a spoiled brat who doesn't play well with others and wants to keep all his toys to himself.
As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough.
What this means is that even from the very beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Kevin Feige was looking for ways to make it more like the comics, to make it more like the pure experience of reading a Marvel comic where any and every character could pop up, and that story connected to an entire other universe of Marvel characters. So going back to this meta idea, because that's something that Feige always wanted, but it was off limits to him because Fox had the X-Men, Sony had Spider-Man. Wouldn't it make sense that Kevin wants to tell this story that there was a version of the universe where all of those characters existed before, but some villain stripped them out of the canon and created a sacred timeline where things were twisted up and there was no X-Men, there was no Spider-Man, at least until Civil War, and they figured that out. It's a meta way to explain Secret Wars, to explain the motivation for RDJ as Doctor Doom, to recontextualize the character of RDJ's Iron Man and the entire Infinity Saga. And because we know they're going to do a soft reboot where they essentially just want to bring Spider-Man.
Okay, so you get it. You get it. He summed it up faster than I could. Basically, that's the theory. I don't know what the beginning part really had anything to do with that. But yeah, the theory in a nutshell is Robert Downey Jr.'s Victor Von Doom's from the beginning. And he was adopted or transferred to another universe by Kang. Because of that, that's why the multiverse thing is really happening. They've been messing with this thing the whole time, and they need to narrow this down. Which also, I don't know if that's going to retcon other movies, because one multiverse opened because Doctor Strange opened the multiverse. Technically twice. Spider-Verse as well. Then you also got a multiverse from the Marvels, where Spectrum went into the portal. Then you got the multiverse from technically Thor. I don't know if you want to call them multiverses, but they're definitely portals to other worlds. There's too many multiverses going on, and even to narrow them down is kind of weird, because if you make it all make sense with Doctor Strange, how are you going to make all those multiverse mix-ups and happenings all make sense as well? Because you just exploded everything open, and now you're bringing in Doctor Strange. Maybe from them exploding all the multiverses open, and now Doctor Strange is entering those multiverses, like knows they're open, and he realizes he can enter through multiverses from what they did. That'd be pretty dope. But right now, I don't see how they're going to sum up all those storylines with multiverses that were open. Like, even the one with Venom at one point. Venom disappeared and reappeared. That still doesn't even make sense. There's so many multiverses that they just have that don't make sense. So when it comes down to all these movies we're watching, are we gonna close some of these plot holes? Like, what's up with Shield? Agents of Shield was canon in the beginning, and then if people were like, well, it happens in another universe. Well, if it happens in another universe, then it still makes sense now because it's another universe and everybody's jumping from universe to universe. You got Loki. That was the other one I was thinking of. You got Loki on Disney. That's also universe hopping. It's like Disney's version of Doctor Strange. You got Daredevil that's now in our universe, and we never really explained that. It's a bunch of stuff that I'm like, if you're gonna do this universe stuff, how are you gonna do this correctly? What is going on? Remember, if I'm missing anything, please tell me. Sorry, my hair is all messed up. high takes hairstyle, and I'm missing where we're going with this. And at the same time, you created multiverses also through Deadpool. You created multiverses also through the X-Men when they went through Days of Future Past. That created a multiverse. So we have about 6 or 7 multiverses that are just open right now. Excuse me. We have 6 or 7 multiverses that are just open right now. Damn. See, kids. We have 6 or 7 multiverses that are just open right now, and we're still trying to figure out. And we aren't trying to really figure it out. Nobody's really thinking about it. But if we're going to continue to do these plot lines, we're going to be like, so what is the point? Can you just open and close these multiverses whenever? Are we going to finally lock it down and create one singular multiverse? Are we done now? Is this it? Are we going to the young Avengers? What are the Avengers going to be fighting at this point? We still have the Celestial talk. We still haven't finished with the Eternal stuff. We still, like, there is a hand sitting in the middle of an island, according to Brave New World. Captain America, Captain Falcon, Captain America, same difference. They're still, sorry, children. There's still all these things that are open and nobody's talking about it. And in the movies, they just almost like they want us to, I don't want to say they want us to forget about it. They do come back, but they come back like 20 years later. So, excuse me. I don't know. Let's finish it up. Let's see what he talks about. Because there's a lot of unanswered stuff that even he's opening gateways to and he doesn't have an answer to. He's just creating a new idea and another theory. And if you create these theories, you're creating more questions about other movies.
In the X-Men and the Avengers all into the same universe, this whole story would end in a way that gets us back to the original version of the MCU that Kevin Feige first imagined. This is potentially exactly what they're doing. But there's one more thing I want to talk about here, because obviously everybody wants to ask when I talk about this theory, what about Iron Man? What about RDJ as Iron Man? Because this would be weird, and we love him as Iron Man, so now we're supposed to like think about him as Doctor Doom? Well, I want to go back to this idea of challenging the audience, right? The Russos keep saying that they have this idea that really challenges the audiences. And I think this is the perfect idea. I mean, it is literally that challenging where you're trying to think, okay, so this retcons Iron Man, but was he still technically Tony Stark? Like, what makes a person Tony Stark? Because in my theory, the actual Tony Stark would have died maybe in childbirth, and then maybe the Starks just quietly adopt this kid from Sokovia or Latveria, and that just happens to be Victor Von Doom. And of course, all of this is orchestrated by He Who Remains, but in the canon, the Starks just think they're adopting somebody, they lost a child, they want to give a new child a home, they just call him Tony, they never tell him he's adopted, and he's just raised as a Stark. And so in that example, what makes him a Stark? Is it his DNA? Is it the fact that he doesn't have any DNA that he shares with the Starks that makes him not a Stark? Or is it rather the fact that all of his choices, that the way he grows up with Howard, the technology that he's surrounded with, the choices that he makes, the friends that he acquires along the road, are those the things that...
So, that's a great question, but in the Marvel Universe, it really doesn't matter. I get it. His dad taught him how to... Sorry, noise upstairs. His dad taught him how to do everything. His dad taught him how to be very, very smart, which means his dad could have taught anyone to be Tony Stark. But only Tony Stark could build Iron Man in a cave with a bunch of scraps. Like, Tony Stark is the only one who could do these things. So does that mean he's smart because he is Victor Von Doom? See, hold on, children. Is he smart because he is Victor Von Doom? Like, is he only smart because he's adopted as Victor? Like, what makes, like, I get what he's saying is what makes him smart is his dad. But if he's Victor Von Doom, he was born smart anyway. Did they like adopt an autistic child? Like, I'm just asking a question here because now, again, created more theories that I'm like, that go, like, you create ripples when you create these storylines, and they complicate it more, and they sometimes think they're not making it as complicated as they think they are, but they're really complicating all these stories way more than they need to be. Just multiverse it, get it out the way, scrape it, get it done. Like, it's like we got to create this heartfelt, heartwarming story. Again, that's why Superman, I kind of liked it a little bit, and we were talking about recently. Just get to the point. Just get to the point.
Make him Tony Stark. This is ultimately the idea of nature versus nurture, and some of the greatest questions we have about what makes a person a person. And to
It wouldn't be nature versus nurture. If he was Victor Von Doom, he would have probably been smart also since birth. So it's not nature versus nurture. It's Tony Stark or Victor Von Doom. They're both born geniuses. Nature versus nurture is only one would be raised by Tony Stark's father, rich, being able to do whatever he wants, and the other one would be born rich, being able to do whatever he wants. Like, it's not really nature. No, I think Victor Von Doom came up from the scraps, and depends on what theory you're talking about, but I think Victor Von Doom did grow up like that. But that also means he became king of Latveria, which means if he became king of Latveria, he was smart on the political aspect because he knew the people. It's weird how that works. It's very weird, but yeah. So that's what I think with that theory. Like, I don't know how you can go to nature versus nurture if you're talking about how they're born, or if you're talking about how they're, like, one's raised from money, one's not. But that doesn't help the theory with Victor Von Doom. It might help the theory with Tony Stark, but if Tony Stark's Victor Von Doom, it doesn't help the theory.
apply that big time thinking to a character like RDJ's Tony Stark, I think is really compelling, really interesting, and challenging to the audience, because I think that Tony Stark is coming back. It might not be the exact one that died at the end of Endgame, but I think a heroic version of Tony will come back in Secret Wars and will ultimately face down with Victor Von Doom. And I really have no idea how that is going to go and how their conversations and decisions will affect the canon of the past.
So let's look up the tragic origin story of Victor Von Doom to see if he's right. If it was more like he just got so mad he went evil. Let's see.
Do you know that the origin story...
No, we're going to go a little deeper.
What's up, my comic comrades, and happy Halloween. In light of this weekend's festivities, including the finale of Villains Month here on Variant, we knew we needed today's villain to be a big one. And while there are quite a few top-tier rogues and more, in any case, let's get into Doctor Doom's fictional origin. The best origin for Doctor Doom is given to us in the Books of Doom 6-issue miniseries, where we see that when Victor Von Doom was a boy, he was the child of gypsies in Latveria. We learn that Victor's mother Cynthia delved into the black arts, which his father Werner begged her to stop doing, saying, "Think of your family, think of your son." She replies to her husband, "That's what I'm thinking of, Werner. Look at us. Our people are constantly in tatters, barely one step ahead of the Baron's persecution. But if we had some power, Victor's life, it could be better than this." So of course she doesn't stop dabbling in the black arts and called upon the demon Mephisto to use his power. The summoning of him worked, but not the way she thought. Mephisto manipulated her, filling her with...
So the question is, does Mephisto now come into play? Since Ironheart was created, does Mephisto come into play? See, now, this is what I mean. We get so complicated now to make Tony Stark be Victor Von Doom. This whole thing gets super complicated. I didn't even get into the video yet. Mephisto exists since Ironheart. Mephisto exists since Ironheart came about. And now you're telling me about his family delving in black magic. Talk about nature versus nurture. Talking about nature versus nurture, I feel like they nurtured him. They like tried to teach, like they raised him away. But it's the nature of all the stuff they're doing. One's in the black magic, one's in the technology.
With a thirst for vengeance on the Baron's men. The soldiers who kept the gypsies on the run, who beat them and stole their money, who have done worse to the women. She killed several of the Baron's men, but when the demon's powers left, the survivors chased her down and killed her as we watch her die in her husband's arms. Her final words were begging her husband to keep Victor away from dark places. But as we all know, that didn't turn out so well. After this, Victor's father, Werner, who was a doctor, was called by King Vladimir to treat his sick wife. But when Werner failed to save the king's wife as she was already riddled with cancer, the Baron blamed Werner for it and sent his men to hunt Werner and Victor. On the run, Werner would die freezing to death trying to keep his son.
So, I'm going to pause that, and we're just going to get to the point. Why? Because I'm too high for this. And this point is, if Tony Stark is coming back as Victor Von Doom, why are we complicating this story? 1. 2, it is part of the story, so when people are complaining about it, they're like, why did this come about? The guy already gave you the theory. We know what happened in Avengers Endgame and how his father talks about him. And then there is a what if with him. So it's not too far-fetched. The whole thing about the actors and what they did as like almost nepotism, that's the reason I have an issue with what we're doing. But I have an issue with the whole Marvel universe at that point, if that's the case. Because like you just said, Chris Evans came as the Human Torch, and he's also Captain America. We're just reusing actors, and now you've seen it more than once. So if we're going to do that, what is the point of me watching these TV shows when we're going to come back and circle back around? Is Mephisto in this? He's playing by Sacha Baron Cohen now. Like, there's too much going on, and it's not even enough for me to keep... I am involved. I like the stories, but it's so much that I can't even watch it for a story no more. It's like the Marvel universe has now just become noise. That's the best way I could play it. I don't really know a lot of the stuff going on, and when I do pay attention to the plots and the stories, like I just said, we brought up issues with the multiverse since we started this. We've talked about how man, we've gone a little deep when it comes to the Marvel universe, and I'm saying this as a fan. I'm not trying to be all just haterish of it, because I love it. I really do. But now it's become what the comic books are. And most people don't get that because they don't read the comic books. And the people who read the comic books already know what we're in for. They've seen where we can go with this. They how do I put this? As a comic book fan, I don't read the comics anymore. Why? Because the comics have gotten so oversaturated. They're just creating storylines again and again and again and again. There's so many versions of Spider-Man. There's I think right now there's a like cosmic takeover version of Spider-Man. Like there's a cosmic version of Spider-Man. There's like God. Like there's so many. There's just too much. We've gone over Collective. We've rebooted. We've recessed it. We've done all of it. You know what we haven't done in these Marvel universes? Just give me... X-Men is the closest thing. Give me just a TV show that follows the comic from beginning to end. And if you wanted to do a live action, you wanted to do it... No, you'd have to do it as a cartoon. If you wanted to do the movies and continue to do the movies live action, just move forward. Just move a little bit forward. Young Avengers. Start showing them training the young ones. Like Hawkeye was a great step in a great direction. Just do that. The rest, the complicated parts, the Victor Von Doom, now you're bringing in the Fantastic Four. Like, just when they come over, just have Von Doom hanging on to the back of the wing or something. I don't care. just straight line a lot of this stuff, because what they're saying here, and even they pointed out, we want to get our fans thinking, and really, like, I'm like, what do they think, we're dumb? Like, and it wasn't a word he used, he didn't say thinking, but for the most part with the Marvel Universe, I think I'll wait for Secret Wars if Secret Wars can redeem it. And the only reason I have faith in Secret Wars because I don't know anything about it. But at this point, yeah, Marvel, you've turned yourself into the comics. There's not much left. The comics are great in the 70s. Read them now. So I'm going to say they're oversaturated. Too much is going on. There's no point in to continue reading because they might get canceled and reboot to another series anyway. So that is my high take. I've given you 2. Technically, I've given you 3. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go back and finish smoking. I'll finish this Victor Von Doom video, but I didn't need to finish anything. I didn't need to watch anything else. That was it.